to episode 21 of Live Life by Design. I'm your host, Nicole Mantilla Parato, and today we are bringing back Dani Frederick because she is my soul sister, my soulmate, my colleague, and all of the things. And we have some deep conversations to be had today. I know that I've taken a little time off from this podcast, but I was integrating a lot on what I wanted to create moving forward, who I want to bring on, and how I want these to flow and the structures to flow. And I really want to bring on those that I feel like I can co-create sacred space with, and we can just channel and bring forth information that is going to support your business, your leadership, your relationships, the way you love yourself, the way you embody all this energy that's coming through and move through life. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Dani, for coming back on the show.
You're so magnificent. I love you so much. Thank you for having me here.
I gotta tell you guys, so when we got onto Zoom and Dani came on, she had this beautiful, as you can see, white rose behind her. And I was like, oh my God, you look so radiant. I'm like, my background's like so basic. So we actually, before we started this recording, literally played with the background. And I'm like, send me the rose, let me try it. It looked ridiculous with both of us with the roses. And then I was just like, you know what? Let's just do this thing. But it's funny how our human mind can get obsessed with like how things look, how things should flow or be. And it was really a lesson just to ease into the space and let her be the rose today. Let me embody the energy I'm meant to embody. And we all have days when we're supposed to shine in a unique way and broadcast a unique signal. And today, Dani is really showcasing the beauty and the power of the rose, the white rose.
And it's for us all. It's on behalf of both of us and everyone tuning in, the frequencies of the white rose. And I think what we just experienced, Nicole and I together, when we're like, wait, we like tried out all these different backgrounds. And it's almost like when little girls play dress up, like our little girls were coming out a little bit, but also the parts that I think were being shown that we're ready to let go, that are like, oh, things have to be a certain way where it's truly, Spirit came through and said, stop, sit on your thrones, create from frequency. It doesn't matter anything you have going on, what you look like, create from the frequency and cultivate the frequency, which is something why I love working with you, Nicole, because we always do that, right? Like we were planning on going into prayer and anyways, and they kind of like let us into it. And everything that we do when we come together, we start in the etheric and we start in prayer and we start in sound frequency. And we really take 20 to 30 minutes, a minimum of intention before any of the podcasts that we do, where we're just connecting to our essence and connecting to truly what wants to bring through, which I think is what we're here to do as oracles, as stewards, as channels. It's about getting out of the way and being like very unattached, which can be really hard sometimes.
I love it because, like your white rose, the theme is right now is softening. It was like, can you soften and relax into your throne? What happens when you allow your body to soften and you don't try to have it all together or figured it out or planned out and you flow from that softening? Things blossom, you blossom. And so that was a lesson while we were preparing for the podcast, which is funny because we normally never have experienced that with each other. Normally it's never like that. But you see, we're coming together more, we're coming together in partnership, not in romantic partnership.
I propose.
We're coming together as leading. We're going to be leading offerings together. And so part of this is actually perfect because when you have like the fall of ancient civilizations like Lemuria, right? Or Atlantis, or any kind of witch wounds and persecution, there were a lot of sisters that got competitive, that got jealous, or didn't want to outshine the other one because they didn't want the other one to feel bad. You know, all the stories that still play out in our reality now. Where am I too much? Am I not enough? I don't look as good as you. You don't look like it's, we got to let that stuff go.
That ish go. We gotta let it go.
All the comparison and competition, that's so old paradigm living and leadership. And it was a lesson. I didn't even think I was like carrying anything of it. And it was nothing like towards Dani. I was just like, my background's boring compared to yours, right? But we came back to ourselves. And that's what we do is we softened and we're like, let's get back to the intention. It doesn't matter. And so we have made vows as oracles here to serve leaders and mentors and visionaries and pioneers that are here to make big changes, to be the purest channel that we can be so we can bring forth that information and that wisdom that is going to serve you and take you to the next level. And we can't do that when we're in our heads and participating in some of those old narratives. And neither can you. You can't serve your clients to the best of your ability if you're still in those stories.
And here's the thing with the stories. I'm reminded of just a really old memory of when I was like, I want to say 4-ish. And this is just how deep these wounds go. They truly are from other lifetimes, like you said, other ancient civilizations, because I wasn't super conditioned yet, right? At that age. Like, yeah, there's some conditioning. And I had a ballet recital. And afterwards, like the moms come on stage and they give you like flowers and bring you off. And it's, it's a really cute thing. And I remember my mom, bless her heart, bought me this huge bouquet of flowers. Like it had so many flowers, right? And my friend got one single rose. And I remember crying and crying and crying about it because I was like, I want just a rose. And I think some of that is obviously the connection to rose lineage and my soul, like recognizing that. But it was really what I remember in that little body was like, oh, I'm not like her. I'm not like her. I want to be like her. Right. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I be so happy with like this big bouquet of flowers? And it's it's these wounds that happened when we were in temples, when we really did our best to serve, but then power began to get co-opted. And then what happens? It's like then we're not as authentic and everyone's trying to orchestrate and manipulate and no one knows who to trust of like who's fully for the light, who's not. And all of these things happen. And it's like now we're in this lifetime where we actually have the space to clear all of that, finally.
As you're talking, your throat chakra was like lighting up. And so, which brings me to how the fall of ancient civilizations has held us back from using our voice. Yeah. And I know that that's one of the biggest reasons Dani and I do the work that we do is because we reclaimed our power. We're still reclaiming our power through the power of our voice. We're reclaiming our leadership skills through the power of our voice, our divine communication, expression through the power of our voice. So I'm going to pass that to you, Dani.
Mm. I feel like I want to cry. I'm not like wanting to cry so much where I can let it come through yet, but I'm just naming that. I'm like, there's something that feels so soft and tender. And I think people who have tuned into us to before, it's a very different energy we're bringing today because we are it all. And there's this really vulnerable truth to all of this. And not vulnerable as in, oh, it's scary to talk about, but vulnerable in These wounds of previous falls are so deeply held and impacting. Oh, I get chills when I say this, our essence. Ooh, chills.
Ooh, yeah, I
And
felt that up my spine.
that's the thing. It's not like wounding that's just in the auric field or wounding from, losing something in another lifetime in a way where it's like, okay, it's like these wounds of the fall, because when we were at the top of these golden ages before the descent, before the fall, we were creating from essence. And so these wounds came and they carry they touch us in our deepest places.
Ooh.
And so that's why it's hard to remember, and a lot of us don't want to remember. Because it's like a baby bird egg. Like I'm being shown a little, those little like robin's eggs just broken open, and the little bird in there, like kind of on life support, just. And it's like we have to go down to that baby bird and say, I see you, I remember you. I'm not going to let you stay on life support. I'm here to like breathe life into you. And we can like clear all of this and reintegrate these soul fragments back into our wholeness. And of course, we're already whole. Like ultimately, we're in a realm of duality and paradox. So we're already whole and we're still on a human journey back to that wholeness, to fully remembering that and embodying that. So that really feels like what wants to come through right now is we're talking about some of the most tender, purest light within us, that invincible innocence that is still incredibly vulnerable, because in vulnerability, the greatest vulnerability comes the greatest strength. You can't be guarded and strong. The highest emanation of strength is the undefended love. And if we're truly going to pick up that undefended love mantle as stewards of the light, we have to go here and we have to bring love and balm to these wounds.
Yes. Loving balm, not battle. Because I know a lot of us carry repressed anger for the injustice that has been done through the falls of Lemuria and Atlantis, or even the persecution of the witch ones. I'm going to just keep saying those three because those are three big things for all of you that are here to pave a new way, to help rebuild new systems, to get Gaia, Earth thriving again, right? So we have to not come from battle, but come from love and unity and heal these wounds that separate us from each other, because that stops us from co-creating together. And when we look into the future of what's being called for us, a lot of us are going to be required to buy land and to
Huge.
build on land and build communities and grow our food together and help each other raise our children. We're talking about a whole new way of living, a bunch of new systems. And a lot of that has to do with you healing these wounds that keep you separated from your brothers and sisters. And so Dani and I are not just talking to women right now. We're talking to men too. It's so important, men. You are not left out in this. I know there's been so much support in the spiritual community for women, but we see you, and Dani and I both feel called to work with men too, because it's so needed at this time. We want to see you in your wizardry. We want to see you owning your power.
And we want to see what happens when there are so many men and women building together in clean and pristine, integrous, honoring energy. That is what sacred union is. Sacred union is not necessarily romantic. The first and most truest emanation of sacred union is the sacred union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies within. And then the next iteration of that is actually building these new paradigms together. And of course, there's sacred union between a man and a woman, or whatever, two beings, one holding a more masculine energy and one holding a more feminine, because those are creation principles. It has really nothing to do with gender, coming together. And that's incredibly powerful. And that is something that's really needed in our world. And it's beyond that. I think that's what everyone goes to. So I'm not going to hone in on that and just bring
Yeah.
everyone to like sacred union is that, which is some of the most powerful energy ever. And it's also the it's just the creation. It's the creation. And so we need each other. We need each other. We need each other. So, of course, there's wounds to heal in the sisterhood community because we need to heal that from the fall. And then there's also the healing that happens between um, men and women to really reconcile and kind of almost get this earth back on its axis. It's almost like the earth right now, what they're showing me is like tilted from the distortion of the relationship between the masculine and the feminine. And so we need to come, oh, I get chills when I say this. We need to come into right relationship with each other to get earth back on its pillar of light axis, is what they're saying. Pillar of light axis, where creation is easeful and beautiful and clean and pristine, free of distortion. So, and that reminds me of that saying where it's like, I forget what it is. Albert Einstein or someone who was like, you can't solutionize from the same consciousness that created the problem, right?
I don't know the exact saying.
It's something
I don't
listeners will
know
know.
the exact
You guys
saying.
know what you know what I'm putting down
Drop it
here.
in the comments if you know it so
Drop it
other
in the
people can
comments, help
see.
us out. This is a co-creation. So yeah, that's really what's coming through for me in this moment is healing these wounds not only help us step greater into our leadership with our voice, it also, to your point, Nicole, helps us collaborate for all the new earth systems and paradigms of how our societies and communities orchestrate themselves and grow for our evolution from when we're a child into adulthood, but also the sacred union to truly birth the new earth, which is the new ways of relating that come through us, the new ideas, the new businesses, the new ways of relating. It's all there. So I'm gonna just pause for a moment there.
Yeah, because we are entering a creator paradigm where that's why so many leaders and people with codes, even if you haven't started your own business yet, you're going to be invited to start building businesses and start creating and using your gifts to earn wealth. Like we're entering a whole new wealth frequency on our planet. And I don't know if those of you are investing in cryptocurrency and stuff, but we are going to be having a huge shift with wealth in the upcoming years. And those of you who have been getting the whispers, and I say this because this is important, because this is how some of you are going to get the money to build on land, to invest in yourself, in your business, to not work as many crazy hours, to be able to leave your job and do what you love and sustain and nourish yourself. Because this is what needs to heal is the masculine force. Overdoing, overthinking, pushing too hard, burning yourself out, competing against each other. Nervous systems are fried. We cannot create solutions from this space. So, hence the softening of the white rose. The white rose is pure, it's purification. Purification. So, when we see that blossoming and that softening, it means we're purifying ourselves from all the greed, the jealousy, the violence, the harm, all the things that we've been carrying that keep us bound and caged inside our own prisons. And then these prisons come from past lives, healing from our like ancestral stuff that's been passed down, imprints on the land, societal imprints. I mean, we're all carrying so much. So you might be feeling it right now that you just want to be liberated, right? You just want to break free. You've had it. Enough is enough. Leave in the comments if you've been feeling that lately, like, I am tired. I want to be liberated. Like, I am tired of the way that we are living in this world. I need to make changes. A lot
Mm.
of us are feeling it in our bodies. Our bodies are getting inflamed. We're not sleeping as well. There's so much here to say for you guys, but also there's pauses here. And when we pause, it's because we want you to feel the energy. We're transmitting a lot to you that goes beyond the human mind, beyond the English language. So just be open to receive that. And part of our gifts is light language. So if you're new to my podcast, when Dani and I start speaking in what might sound like a foreign language or all different kinds of languages, that is light language. In the comments, or not in the comments, in the show notes, if you want to learn more about it, I actually have a free mini guide so you can like download it and learn everything about light language. If you're like, what is Nicole doing? What do her and her guests do? Because I bring on a lot of people that speak light language, otherwise known as tongues. So just be open to receiving that when we weave in and out of that.
I love that disclaimer because, of course, you're so tuned in. I feel like the white rose would like to just channel through us.
Mhm.
So if we can just, if everyone listening, you can just take a nice deep breath. Imagine going into your body, into the feet, Marukonea Thanatite. And what the white rose is really emanating here is the remembrance of your pure innocence, your pure innocent nature, to claim that now, because whether you know this consciously or subconsciously, we've been on both sides. We've been on both sides. We've been the victim and the perpetrator. So when I speak of like being in the fall, I know I've had lifetimes where I was totally in the light in falls of civilizations, and I know I've had lifetimes when I was for the dark in the falls of civilizations. And we are both and we are all. And so there's this, the white rose is coming through and saying, that's I'm not the only one. And the white rose is coming through and saying, you've been it all. You have been everything, and it's time to forgive yourself. It's time to forgive yourself. It's all as it was meant to be. You chose to be everything. Nothing went wrong or awry, or you didn't turn evil or bad. You experienced what you were meant to experience to hold the scales of balance in the realm of duality. But now it is time to remember the pearl of invincible innocence within you. Find it within you and forgive yourself and claim your innocence. Let the guilt, shame, competition, betrayal, backstabbing, hatred, self-hatred, horror, overwhelm, let it fall away in the softness of my velvet petal roses. It dissolves, dissolves, dissolves. You are worthy. You are innocent. You are pure innocence that's untouchable by the worlds of form. Masunukonete pakiate. So whatever has happened, whatever swords you've been carrying, whatever shields you've been carrying, the invitation is to lay them down now, and you can see a brilliant, sparkling, glittering pool of diamond white light. And they're saying you can lay down your sword and your shield and watch the white light, the lake of white light, just dissolve, dissolve, dissolve. This is coming into undefended innocence. That does not mean we are at risk for attack or anything like that. It's not opening up our fields. We are sovereign. Instead, it's saying we are the innocent sovereignty of divinity. And in that, I do not need to be defended. God never needs to be defended. I am God. We are one. I'm invincible. We are one. We are one. We are one. Mashune teo akiane.
Beautiful. The white owl keeps coming in and flying all around. So I want to speak about the white winged ones and the white dragons and the seraphim that are coming in to support us with humanity's evolution and reclaiming our creator power. This is what's happening. When we heal and do this work and we soften into this purification and we let go of the past and we forgive ourselves and others, we can rebuild ourselves in this world in a new way. But that's going to require support, because those of you who have been doing the work, you know how hard it is to do this alone. There are days where you feel like you want to give up. There are days when you're so fatigued and having brain fog that you don't even want to get up off the couch because you feel like you just want to rest. And then you can feel guilty for resting. So what do? You push through. You force yourself. At this time, we want to help you. Dani and I want to help you. We want to support you in letting go of some of these stories and the energetic imprints through frequency work and frequency healing, because that is our specialty. Not only are we oracles, we are gatekeepers of frequency. And it's taken a lot of inner work and lifetimes for us to be able to offer you the support that we're offering now. And many of you will be feeling that too, that what you're creating next is like you've been training for lifetimes to be able to have the strength and the courage and the capacity to build and lead. And we want to help you make that come true by helping you fill your cup, by plugging you in to higher frequencies of consciousness that light up your channels, your lymphatic system, your blood, your cellular network, your neurons, so that you're tapping in to the wisdom that you incarnated with the solutions, your own vault, your own frequency vault. So we hook you up to this bigger frequency vault so that you can access your own frequency vault that has everything that you need within you. Everything that you need within you. We just have to help you remember.
Oh, there's so much I want to add.
Go
So
ahead.
the first is the the frequency vault. Why is frequency so important? Frequency means when you're immersed in high frequency, your cells can come into resonance with that frequency and actually begin to rise in vibration and meet that frequency. Where at some of these higher frequencies, some of the wounding just dissolves and no longer exists. So let me ground this in a practical example. So for so long, the methodologies have been to intake things through the mental body and apply them and, do our habits and do these things and all the practices. And that's still good. We're not poo-pooing the mental body. The mental body is very important. I just want to make some contrast here of that way of intaking information. But now, for this next evolution, which you just mentioned, which there are so many light workers out there who are truly, I get chills when I say this, here to bring their next level gifts. You might already be serving in a big way, you might not. And there's no real quick, there's no definition of leadership of you have to be running a business, you have to be leading a team. Leadership is how much light can you steward so that you can stay open-hearted in love more of the time? That's true leadership. That's true self-mastery. It's not about any particular skill set or number of followers or big platforms. So I want to make that really clear because one thing that we truly do not stand for in our temples is spiritual hierarchy. That's absolutely not an energy that we're willing to entertain or allow in. And so I want to name that explicitly. So back to where I just got Isis. I have Kali Ma coming through. Maybe I'm
I know, but I can, before you go on and I want you to do that, can you just speak to that? Because we want you to feel like you can be a part of this. Like she's so right about not having a business, not having a following, and not making this. Your huge impact might be holding your family or being in love in your relationship or
chills.
right? Or just doing good in your job and being the light at a school as a teacher. It can be so many things. So I'll let you keep going.
No, thank you. Yeah, we really want to open the gates to everyone understand we are all children of God. The emanations of our heart literally go out beyond what our minds can mentally fathom. So it really is who we are in moment to moment that impacts this world. It's not the outer orchestrations. So if you're at the sink doing dishes and you're doing the dishes and you're taking some deep breaths to yourself and you're saying, I open my heart, I'm so grateful for doing these dishes. That can theoretically be way more impactful that someone who's getting on big stages, who's rushed, who's contracted, has lost the spark of why they're doing what they're doing. And so I share those examples to just share the contrast of you might be in a solo ministry where you're just tending to your own heartscape. You might be in a public ministry where you're tending to thousands of heartscape. Both are equally needed. Both are equally necessary. Both are equally as important and both are equally as impactful.
Hmm.
Really critical that everyone hear that. Anything
Oof.
you'd like to add to that before I move on, Nicole?
Yeah, I do, because another reason is there's no cap. I just want to say that, like, I never knew what I would be doing today. I was married, then I got divorced, then I was a single mom with two kids, busting my ass as a yoga teacher at the hospital, doing sound events. I never knew I would be having a YouTube channel, having a platform, serving and earning in this way. So, wherever you're at, know that there is always more if you're open to receiving it. And part of putting these shields down and doing this work is letting yourself receive what you're meant to receive, your deepest desires, and allowing yourself to have pleasure again. And no, pleasure is not just around sex. And it's so crazy because I have so many clients that equate pleasure just with sexual and sensual energy. We want to create with pleasure. We want to live with pleasure. Like, we want to embody pleasure. So, yes, you could be a billionaire, but not be happy. You could have people backstabbing, stealing from you, you being miserable, stressed out at night, not aligned with your soul's purpose, not aligned with your true frequencies, not feeling true pleasure in your day to day experience.
And you could be a billionaire that is experiencing true pleasure and the most loving relationships and the thing. And what you're pointing to is it's all about the frequency.
Mhm.
How do we shift our frequency? We have to really clear some of these core runes of the essence. And so getting back to the old paradigm of intaking through the mental body, the magic of frequency is it literally shifts our being. And let me give an example. So when my light language first came online, well, when I first knew that I had to go public with it, so it had been coming online for about a year or so, and then my guides tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, this is actually a huge part of your purpose, and you need to go public." And I was like, "Absolutely not, absolutely not." And I think we talked about this on a previous podcast, so I'm not going to share many details. I'm just going to share the highlights that consecrate this point.
Episode 10, guys. Episode 3 and 10 if you want to see more of Dani and her story. Okay.
So So I was in great, great resistance to what was being asked for me, so much so that it was impacting my health. And I knew I was getting this from my own guides, and I was also getting this through multiple intuitive healers who don't know each other, this information from the spirit guides saying the same thing, that light language and sonic frequency healing through your voice is like the main trunk of your tree. If your purpose is a tree in this lifetime, that's your trunk. Have fun. And I said, F no, I've been through way too much. I already stuff's clearing as I speak this. I already live as a priestess. I've already exited the corporate world. I've already done all these things. I already feel like I don't have
I'm
any
gonna weave. You keep going.
yeah, because this is as I speak this, I feel like we're clearing for everyone listening. Nuka
No, it
tarin.
is. So, guys,
Yeah.
I'm working on you all as you're watching this. Go ahead.
So yes, okay, perfect. Thank you, Nicole. So Moshana hia no ho ni ha hia kote. So I was like, absolutely not. And then it just got to the point where I had to say a prayer because I was not moving forward. I was so sick because I was in such resistance. And I called on my angels and I said, fine. Because ultimately, I knew part of me wanted that. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. What if I could be free and just light language and people would crave it and love it and thank it and honor it and feel reverent within it? Like, what a magical, mystical life. But it was my human part that was like, no, that's not possible. I can't. I'm going to get persecuted. I'm going to, people aren't going to understand. And so I just said, make it safe. Make it holy, make me whole. Like, I will do it, but you have to make it safe. You have to make it safe. For the next 3 days, I could not, and I went into like some frequency work, right? Like working on the energy realms. When you're in that deep of prayer and that surrender, that's another form of frequency work. And that's also prayer, the art of commandment. Like that is some of the work that we weave through. It's not just about making sounds. So doing that frequency work that I did in that deep surrender moment, the next 3 days, I couldn't move my neck to the right. And it was as if this knot in my neck that represented the physical manifestation of all the lifetimes I was persecuted was leaving my body. And then after the 3 days, it was like within a week, actually, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get on Instagram and post light language. I can't wait to hold the masterclass about light language. And it wasn't me getting up every day saying, I'm safe. I'm going to do this light language. I'm going to do this, and like talking my mental body or doing any inner child integration work around that, which that is all necessary. That is all needed. I teach affirmations and commandment. I teach inner child healing. That's all very important. But I'm speaking to those of us who we've done all of the things and there's still more. And you're not sure. You're like, I've been to 1,000 sound baths. I've been to 12 intuitives, and yet why am I still having these resistances? It's like I didn't have to do any of that. And all of a sudden, I literally transformed and allowed the next level of my energetic template to resurrect and be unlocked from my cells because I came into a resonant frequency and it shifted who I was. Truly, I get chills when I say that. I shifted who I was. And all of a sudden, my attitudes, behaviors, and actions were different because I was different. And I was excited to go public with light language. And there are still edges with it, right? But it happens in layers. But that's when we're talking about frequency and truly working at the levels of the DNA and energetic soul blueprint templates. The shift happens there via frequency. And then it's more of an integration shift process that's way more efficient than working from the mental body and getting caught in loops of story. I'm going to pause. Please add, Nicole. Mashu kataya.
Yeah, so the important thing is, and how Dani and I work, and how I work individually as being a former microbiologist and scientist, is that you can't just have frequency blasted at you. It needs to be guided into your bones, into your fascia, into your cells, and directed at certain points where we know that the trauma is stored collectively or patterns are stored. So it's very, very important because when we take you into your body with the frequency, guided meditation, and energetic work, and speaking to you so you feel safe and supported, that's when the real transformation can happen. You're actually changing your cellular structures, which allows you to clear so much, and your health starts to change. And as the frequency starts to change, you behave differently. Dani says it's literally neural rewiring. Okay. And yes, science has not caught up to study what we're doing, but you can see what frequency work and sound work has done, how it activates the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic system. It changes brain waves. There's so much science to back up certain things, but light language, I want you to think as vibrational medicine. But this is the difference and why some people are like, and remember, we're not hierarchy. We're not saying anybody's better than anybody. This is like lifetimes of doing this and working with thousands of people, that you have to ground people into their bodies or they can feel like they're going cuckoo, like crazy. Too much energy coming in, not grounded. They start to disassociate from their body. And so a lot of people, when they come to ceremonies like this, they feel anchored in their body and they might be like, why do I feel heavy? Why don't I feel light and all like that? It's because we're doing the work in your body. That's where you've been escaping from. We got to take you in the body to heal all of this so you can create from the fullness of your divine expression, your true essence. When Dani said earlier, we create from our essence, that's every element and molecule and electron that you are. So that's the difference of when you're getting this frequency work and why this transformation can happen, because it's happening on a cellular level. And so like how Dani said, she had that pain, that knot in her neck. And that knot was her binding her to her past. It was the block that was restricting. The neck is the bridge from the head to the body. It was restricting her divine connection, her embodiment connection, for her to literally live from her essence. So many of you who are watching this are probably like, I got neck pain. I got that knot. There are points in the body that I have studied, and I call them quantum reset points, just from working with so many people. And when we use light language, essential oils, and massage, and work with it, and movement, intuitive movement, we're allowed to take all of this, the breath, color therapy, and really alchemize. We're talking lifetimes of stuff. And now it doesn't always just go, it depends on the person. Resistance is a real thing, guys. So that's why this is not like some magic wand. You're going to have to maintain it. You're going to have to nourish yourself with love and your own daily practices.
And
This is a
that's
lifestyle. It's a lifestyle,
it
right?
really is. And that's what I love about when we found each other. It's like you are a biologist. I come from leadership in the tech and real estate worlds, like corporate realms. We have both the masculine and the feminine. And that's what's so important, because what you just said in reference to my story, the bridge from the head to the body. When we're through the body, that's how we make change in our lives. I run into so many light workers who are like, I've done, so many experiences where I get into high frequency, but nothing changes and nothing changes. And we're coming in, this comes back to the sacred union codes. We're all being asked to come into our divine sacred union, and the sacred union codes are codes of creation. And the creation happens through the body to actually shift our reality based on the shift within ourselves. And along with all this clearing, the other aspect of that is awakening your signature soul codes. I couldn't go out and get a certificate in light language. It's a new earth paradigm. And by the way, everyone has access to light language, right? Like I want to go back to that spiritual hierarchy. Everyone's a channel. Everyone's a vessel. Everyone can
Yes.
do light language, just like
Yeah.
everyone can play basketball. But you got to show up to the court and you got to practice. And you have to do all of the things that keep your vessel clean. Like a basketball player eats right, does cardio, hits the gym, lifts weights, and then also practices on the court. When we're opening up these psychic gifts, we have to tend to our vessel and keep ourselves extremely clean and
Mhm.
pristine. And so there's no hierarchy here. And when we're working in this way, we get to activate our signature soul code remembrances. Remembrances come from within and they bubble up. And then we start to integrate and embody them. And oftentimes, our ability to put English words to the description of what's coming through of us and what's awakened is the last piece before we steward it. And we're so often just so used to things coming in through the mental body with words and then going into the body that when we have these remembrances of our soul codes that we're here to steward to change this earth, we get scared because we can't put words to it. But when you can be held by people like Nicole, like myself, like other brothers and sisters in your field, other light workers, you bask in the frequency, you unlock these codes, you understand how to work with the cycles of your body, and you also understand how to ground it and take integrous, aligned action imperfectly to begin to embody. And then eventually the words come, and then that's when you're a steward of it.
You see, the future of medicine is in frequency and you using the power of your voice to shift your frequency. We really have been equipped with so much to heal ourselves. And like Dani said, we're all channels. We just have to create the right internal environment, the fertile soil within for our gifts to emerge that help us to live and thrive the way that we're supposed to. Now, we don't want you to be like, oh my God, this sounds, overwhelming to live like this because it's different for everyone. We all have our unique soul's blueprint. So, what works for your body type is going to be different than what works for me or Dani's body type, especially with diet and working out. But all of these things are so important, and we just want to highlight that if you want to transform your life, you have to take into consideration the physical body, the mental, emotional, and spiritual. All of it is connected. And so we see so much disconnect, so many people just focusing on the spiritual aspects and not enough on the body, right? So many people, vice versa. So I just want to say that sorry. All of a sudden, I just got like this burst of energy is that you guys the power is in your hands, basically. Like they're showing me like suns. Like we are all glorious suns. Like we get to shine and radiate. They're just like, can you light language them?
Yeah, yeah. So I just want to say one thing. I'm feeling that because we've been really sincere and it's been very soft, and that's very good because and I totally feel that sun energy where they're like, all right, pick it up, ladies. Now let's bring them into joy. And this is the other thing. This is another of the infinity or sacred creation where it's like we are it all. We are the seriousness, we are the depth, we are the wisdom, we are the play, we are the joy, we are the fun. And when I say we, I'm talking about everyone on this earth. And I also want to say before we go in, like, we're not doctors. So when we're using some of this language, I just want to give that disclaimer for my witch wound. She needs that right now. So this is all informational. But we are speaking the truth of what we've seen transform in ourselves and our clients. through these frequency technologies and these Hathorian technologies that are all around the sacred arts of the sound temples of old that knew how to work in the technologies of resonance, of frequency, of sonic codices, and unlocking human potential in a sacred, secure, and safe way.
And I'm going to add, because I keep seeing the skeletal system, how important your skeletal system is. And so Dani and I are actually co-creating an event coming up on December 19th. It's called the Frequency Vault, Activating the Keys to Freedom. And we are going to be helping you transcend the wounds of the fall, the witch wounds, and help you step into your leadership and into your power. And I'll let Dani add more to that, but I just feel before we light language, I need to ground that in, and I want to ground it into your skeletal system. So if this is for you, you're going to feel this in your body, in your bones. You know the sayings like you feel it in your bones? That's what we're talking about. The
Yes.
transformation starts in the bones, in the body, because we're taking you into the depth of your being and then elevating your frequency from there.
I also want to name a couple other things.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much about it. We're gonna have a sales page in the comments below that you can learn more about it. But yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, if this is of interest to you, the link is below. So just to kind of, I just want to kind of summarize and recap some of the wounds of the fall and how these can show up in people today. Now, we're not going to go through an exhaustive list. You'll see us sharing more around all of these things over the next week and a half or so, leading up to this sacred chamber of sonic frequency, the frequency vault that we're bringing through. But Atlantis, Lemura, before the falls of some of these ancient civilizations that were rooted in spirituality, it's like we said earlier, but I really want to ground it in. Shadow began to creep in, shadow within and shadow without. Okay. So this isn't about pointing fingers at anything. It's jealousy came up, envy, competition. I want that. Oh no, I put my heart and soul into this. This is literally an extension of my soul, and everything fell apart. I caused a disaster through my sacred work. So, how can this show up today? You can't collaborate well with others, or maybe in collaborations, you make yourself small, or you always are agreeable, or you just don't want to ruffle feathers, or perhaps you hold back because you don't fully trust who you're working with, or you don't even know how to bring forth the verbiage to create an integrous, clean, and pristine relationship where you can voice your needs in a way that's undefended and with compassion so that others can also meet you in that undefended, compassionate place for the highest and best potential to come through. It can also look like being really excited, maybe making an Instagram post, but not posting it, and then being like, you know what, I'm not going to post this. I'm not going to post this. I'm afraid that someone's going to misunderstand it. Or, I feel like they're telling me pass it to Nicole. They're saying pass it to Nicole. I see like a basketball and I'm passing you the basketball. So Nicole, it sounds like I feel you. Go, please.
And no, it's also, starting and stopping projects. Like you have all these brilliant ideas, but you're jumping from one idea to the next and you don't finish and you don't take action, or if you don't get the results that you wanted right away, you just drop it completely and then get hard on yourself and start criticizing yourself. It's avoiding risks, right? That's a huge one because people don't pursue what they really want because they lost everything before when they fully showed themselves. They lost their family, they lost their loved ones, they lost their resources. So I think that this is, we could go in so much deeper and follow us on social media. I've already started my posts on this. I don't want to make this about all of those core reasons, but I want to help lead you to a deeper place of integrity and alignment and show you what you're really made of and what you can really do and what is possible.
Amen.
The world needs your light. Like the world needs your voice. The world needs your unique gifts.
And the next expression of the unique gift. So many people have stepped outside of the old paradigm box, and yet now they're feeling their next level awakening. They're like, oh, I don't know if people are ready for that. Oh, I don't know if I can steward that. Oh, I don't know if I can truly be this, you know? And it's like everyone's being called to bring on these new expressions that truly don't have a place or a reference point in the old way because we're here birthing the new. And that's why we need to band together and trust ourselves in this way.
And this is for anyone who is feeling the call. Like I said, if you feel it in your bones, you're meant to be there. And it's a 2 hour webinar with us. And there's going to be more to follow, but this is the first one. And we are so excited to come together to offer this to you. I mean, I just want to share some of the crazy stuff that has come together since happened since Danny
Yeah.
and I have come together.
Wait, real quick, everyone, sun's a light. See your sun and your solar plexus coming to light. We're getting into the joy, we're getting into the fun, we're getting into the play. We're matching that with the depth of the wisdom, with the depth of the truth that has been spoken. And now we get to listen with our interest and curiosity and inner children, just bringing that through, holding that sun in your solar plexus as we continue forward, because this is going to prime for when we are complete with English words and go into a little bit of light language, it'll just help ground it even that much more. So, sorry, Nicole, please continue. I loved where you were going.
No, it's just that I went to Egypt and so did Danny, and we didn't go together. She went on another trip with another soul sister of ours, and I went too. And I really feel like we had to pick up codes through Egypt, through that sacred site before we could even meet and collaborate. And it was like weeks, couple weeks after I got back that we connected. And our first time meeting on Zoom, we barely spoke English. I'm not even kidding you. We literally were talking in other languages. We were laughing hysterically. We had all these different tones and languages coming through. And it was like just a deep knowing that I found my person. Like I found the person that I'm supposed to walk through life with. And that actually happened to me yesterday with one of my new clients. We started light languaging and we're like, oh my God, here you are. And it was like, and so that's what's happening. You're finding the people that you're supposed to work with because they are your soul family, the people that you led with before, that you built with before. But you'll also find people that you have to do the forgiveness work that betrayed you before, that you are,
Yeah, you betrayed.
or you betrayed, and you get to make it right. And the same dynamics will play out in your relationships until you guys learn the lessons and forgive and release. We get the opportunity, and sometimes it's our brothers, our sisters, our moms, our dads, our grandparents, like friends, coworkers. They're all everybody's playing a role. Everybody's playing a role. So
And we're
anyway,
going through it just as much as anyone, you know, we're
oh
on the
my
court.
God.
No, we're
Yeah.
not, you know, spectators up in box seats. We're on the court with you.
So so that connection was so powerful and we just knew instantly. And so every time we got together, we would light language with each other and our lives were changing so fast. Talk about like a catalyst, like us coming together with our light language. I mean, my income went up substantially. Her income went up substantially. We started making more money, but not even that. I'm just going to share something personal. I actually, after light language, and I wasn't due for my period, bled. And if you're a woman, you know that's a shedding, a wound clearing. So I knew there was like a deep healing happening. So I'm just sharing this
That
because,
happened multiple times. So I want people to realize it's not just like, oh, I was spotting. It was literally after our sessions, multiple
yeah,
times. Yeah.
yes, after us going back and forth. And guess what we were working on? Clearing the wounds from the fall and the witch wounds and the persecution wounds. And same thing, like Dani would go through her own things where her voice would get all like froggy and like she couldn't even like she'd start coughing and she'd have to like get it out.
I
So
literally almost choked on my oatmeal. We were going through, I like to give specifics to really ground this for everyone.
yeah,
Because when we get together in light language, it's not like we got together again. We didn't get together from our mental bodies and say, we want to create together. What's a masterclass we could do? We
no.
got together, we were light languaging, and the guides came through and said, you have worked together before.
Hmm.
You accept and pick up this covenant again in this lifetime. If so, here is your next task. So, this is what we were given from spirit to work on. This isn't something that we just think, oh, this would be cool to work on.
Yeah.
We know we have to go through it ourselves first. And so we get together and we create sacred space and we channel and we light language and we uncover. And Nicole had channeled a bunch of wounds of the fall, and she was kind of going through them. We were going through them together because I was eating. And we got to one that was around hesitation. And I literally almost choked. And I didn't even, it was like involuntary. And I was like, please hold. Like I had to go to the kitchen. I had to throw out my oatmeal. I had to like just spit everything out. And that is such a huge one for me to hesitate, which people might not think because I'm always reflected to, oh, you're so bold, you're so confident. And it's like, no, I hold that part with me. And I know that I leave, even to this day, I'm still working on this. I leave so much on the table because I hesitate. I hesitate to bring through the messages I'm given because I don't think people are ready. I hesitate to bring through my magic because I've seen people in other circles perhaps not hold impeccable space and things go really fucking wrong. And I hesitate. And I really, and that's one of the biggest wounds of the fall that I am healing is this hesitation because I know what I'm here to share, and I know that it's in the highest light, love, and purity, and I know that it's safe to do so. And it's coming into these frequencies to remind those soul fragments of that very same thing, that they're safe too. So please continue. So that was when we got to the hesitation, and I almost choked on my oatmeal.
No, it's just, it's been a beautiful lesson of sacred union in building a business, sacred union in teamwork and collaboration, and truly softening and letting each other's skills shine. So, for instance, like we did all this healing work because obviously we had to move through a lot of it first to be able to be at the caliber to be like, okay, we are actually going to offer this. We're
Yes.
offering this because it's time and we're ready to offer this. But in the behind the scenes of how we created this is that, we both have skills with copy, entrepreneurship, and running a business. And we both have our strengths in different things. And it was so graceful for us because Dani can hesitate for me to be like, we're getting it done. We're going to get it done. We're going to launch it out by Thursday. I'm going to have you on a podcast and we're just going to put it out there. We've worked on the energetic architecture. We've been working on the intent, and I did a bunch of work for her and I passed it on to her, and it was so graceful instead of it being like this overwhelming, glooming thing hanging over our heads when you're doing it by yourself or with somebody that's not in alignment, or you're carrying the wound. I have to do it all myself because nobody does it as good as I do. People screw it up and I gotta micromanage and control everything. Or when you get to it, you redo the whole thing. I didn't. I said, Dani, I'm going to give this to you and I trust you. I trust you to finish it. And how awesome was that?
And here's the thing, it's like puzzle pieces because that's the part I don't like to do. And then you're like, here, go do all the aesthetics, build the page. And I'm like, yes, bitch, let me work. Stand back and watch me work. Okay. Like, we
Girl.
got this. And so we got to come into this beautiful marriage and support of one another where where we are in flow, we got to be in flow. And where we're like, this is kind of the stuff that I don't love to do. It's like the other person was like, oh, that's actually super simple for me. That's actually one of my gifts. It's like, oh, perfect. I'm so glad we were brought together. And I'll say, 2 years ago, I could never have been in this partnership because and that's why it's why clearing the wounds of the fall and this wounding with frequency work is so important because it's like you said, the control creeps in, the distrust creeps in, the second guessing creeps in, the perfectionism creeps in. But we've gotten to a caliber within ourselves to, even when those things creep up, we look at it and we see it and we don't let it lead or impact our progress or our relationship. And that's why this is why it's so important to clear these things because we need to be able to collaborate with our soul fam in easeful ways. And the conditioned mind that's conditioned in the fear paradigm will do everything in its power to stop that, not because it's evil, but because it's trying to keep us safe. But if you can think of the mind that's rooted in the fear paradigm, those are the swords and the shields that we are dissolving in that diamond white crystalline lake. And we're welcoming, after the mind puts those swords and those shields down, we're welcoming it into the paradigm of love, where it's an equal co-creatorship with the heart. So we have the heart, mind, womb, creative essences and pillars and elixirs working together. So, okay.
I love that. And I got to tell you, it's 2:22
Look
while
at
you
us.
were saying that. And that's kind of our number. And also, guys, this is important what she's saying and what we're saying, like the things that we've noticed. We want to help you get awareness of those things because when they show up, you can identify them and be like, yeah, I'm not going to let you hook me again. I'm not going to let that pattern hook me again. And so we will even go over and have a little mini ebook to support you of some of the ways that this shows up in just your day-to-day life and stuff like that. So definitely register for this event. I want to start to light language and bring that energy through. I think that we've talked so much about this, and those of you who are meant to be there will be there. And I just want to give you guys so much love for being part of my community, or if you're new to me, for finding this video. Actually, trust that this video found you, because if you're still watching and made it here this long, I'm sure mine or Danny's work or this event is for you. So definitely check out more of our videos or more of our offerings. And yeah,
One more thing. We always do
just one
this.
more. We keep
Just
doing
one
this.
more, and then I promise. Two
This is
things in
what we
one. The
do.
first thing is we're committed to continuing to share these grounded insights in real ways, vulnerably in our
Oh
own
yeah.
experience. Because I think in one of the things we're committed to is breaking down the walls of it's so easy just to look at people's Instagrams or something and be like, oh, it's so effortless for them. They have no problems, or it's just happening. It's like, no, we actually get to co-create the most beautiful crystalline light through the muck. It's both. It's both, right? We clear the muck and we anchor the light and we bring it through. And that's the human journey of coming into the fullness and wholeness of our divinity. The second thing is this, I'm so excited to go into a little tasty taste, and this is an appetizer of the full experience. The full experience has professional sound equipment and the frequency vault chamber in and of itself, but this is a appetizer of what you can expect, which is channeling light language sonic frequency codes of us weaving together. And so as you're at home listening, stabilize yourself, ground yourself. We'll walk you through a little bit of grounding, but take a deep breath, open up. And if you feel that you want to sound, move, or shake during this, or start to light language your own. Please do. It's all part of the awakening of your codes. Your higher self takes the frequency that we bring through and it works on you in perfect measure, perfect for you. So you're in your sovereignty in this. We are the frequency bringers, but you are in your sovereignty of the assimilation. Know that you are working with your team in spirit. You are a sovereign divine being. Boom. Okay. Just
Yeah, no, it's important for you guys to also understand that this is going to be interactive. It's going to be playful. You're going to be learning. You're going to be participating. You're going to be receiving. But don't worry, not participating where you are unmuted and have to sing or light language in front of anyone. You can keep yourself on mute. But we just want you to understand all of this is in the copy so that you start to feel comfortable using your voice and exploring your gifts and what lights you up and also what's blocking you. We want you to take your power through all of that.
yes, it's about resourcing, accessing, and putting into action your power with ease, joy, ferocity. And I know we have to get started. Okay.
No, it's funny because I have one more thing I have to say, and then we're really going to get started.
You
This is
really
what
are.
we
We're
do.
holding each
This
other
is
to
what
it.
we
Here
do.
we go. Last
Okay,
thing.
but last thing, because this came up when you were talking, and it's a common thing. We said we want real life, real things.
Oh,
Have you ever been at work or in a program where there's always people complaining that they're never happy with the results, no matter what somebody's doing? Or there's somebody at work that just complains about everyone and bitches about everyone, or maybe you're that person.
look,
Okay?
people in there. Okay.
Okay, I mean, no, it's really important to look at.
No shame.
Because sometimes we deflect from being responsible for the things that we have to actually show up and change in ourselves, that we're focusing on criticizing somebody else because it's much easier to do than reflect on what's going on within us that's causing us to be that way. And I'm not saying this all the time because obviously people do things that are shitty sometimes, right? And you need to vent. But what I've noticed, and I'm going to say this in like group coaching programs, like as being a participant, I've been there and I've had people just vent about how they're not happy in the experience. They don't like the coach. They think this. They start talking about everyone and the gossip spreads. But those are the people that are actually not even taking action and following through and being committed and doing their homework. And I notice that a lot of the time they're just more frustrated with where they're at. So I just want to like highlight these things in leadership and business. Maybe you're experiencing it or you've had people do it to you or whatnot, because these are things that need to be alchemized so we can have more harmony and then you can get the results that you want. I felt that was so important.
I'm afraid to open my mouth again because I'm going to add on in English. And so I'm like, yes, yes,
Okay,
queen.
but if it's important, then you should add on because it's about speaking your voice. And you know what? If people don't want to hear it, they can fast forward it to the light language. I'll have timestamps.
And that's being the sovereignty. We love that. We love that. Neo comply. So, okay, let me just.
Whatever, we're flowing. Comes out, it comes
Yeah,
out.
so this is really again when we talk about sovereign divine authority and self-leadership, self-mastery is about being 100% accountable and responsible for everything in your field. Even if you didn't create it, you're responsible for transmuting it. If you are truly wanting to get to your next level of leadership, it's totally okay if something's distorted in your field to be like, I know I'm being asked to do this, and I don't feel like I have the musculature, energy, or strength. But at least then you're in a sovereign choosing of the level of whatever level of suffering you're experiencing. And that's okay sometimes. And rather than being in victim consciousness. So this is really about sovereignty consciousness and understanding that we are responsible for everything in our field and we get to work with people in the seen realms and God, Goddess, and our guides in the unseen realms to then move through the gateways that bring us into more freedom, more liberation, more ease. But let's do the whole thing in sovereignty. You don't have to get to the final embodiment to be sovereign. Be aware of what you're choosing and just reel in any of those projections that Nicole was talking about.
It's important. It's important because if you're a leader and you're even feeling those projections at you, what are you going to do? You probably, if you're not healed, your people pleasing wound might kick on. You might start to feel like you're not good enough and you have imposter syndrome and you shouldn't be doing this in the first place. So if you don't have that strong auric field, if you're not believing in yourself and anchoring in your own inner authority and not taking on the projections, then you can really spiral yourself out. And that's why we see so many people burnt out because I believe we're all empaths. I think we all feel each other to different extremes, right? And people are just not aware of why they feel like shit or why they're doubting themselves. But sometimes they're just picking up on the energy around them. And there's no clearing, there's no filtration system, there's no boundaries.
Exactly. So, what's the good news? The good news is we're bringing you another tool in your toolkit to have a next level liberation, next level
The
freedom, next
key,
level expression of your leadership. So, let's
sign up.
good. Let's
Sign
sign
up.
up. All right, sons out there. Are your sons ready? Here we go. Nicole, drop us in. Wait, is your sound for musicians on? I need to turn mine on.
Yes, that's another thing. For all you leaders, make sure your Zoom is working right. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's really drop in, but let's do light language in the way that I like to do. We're going to give you a sample, but those of you who follow me, you know that this is how we work. First of all, let's set an intention. Today, I want to set the intention to ground you more into your body because I feel a lot of people are not grounded in their body. And to start to facilitate more trust within yourself, trusting yourself to make the right decision, to move forward. So just close your eyes and let's put your hands on your knees so the palms are facing over the knees. Breathe. Just keep breathing and let the weight start to fall off the shoulders. Let the eyes soften. Deeper inhalations through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Go ahead and flip the right palm up to the sky and join the thumb and the index finger, all other fingers straight. Place it on the lap, the right lap. Breathe. Left hand is grounded. Palm is over the left leg. Right palm is facing towards the sky. Open up the scapulas, the right and left scapula. Breathe in deeper, creating space in your rib cage. Let go of any grief and baggage you're carrying. Bring your awareness to the right foot. Breathe in deep. Exhale out the mouth. Go ahead and flip both palms open to the sky. Place the back of the hands on the laps. I'm going to invite you to chant Shiva, Shiva, Shakti, Om. Just repeat after me. Shiva, Shiva, Shakti, Om. Shiva, Shiva, Shakti, Om. Shiva, Shiva, Shakti, Om. Shiva, Shiva, Shakti, Om. Deep breath in. Exhale out the mouth. Olasiki Amao. Solaitia Om. Iria O Soriami I. Soria I. Nakia Oria Mitia Kusaniani. Rakiona Kuyai. Breathe into the right foot. Exhale out the mouth. Let go. Bring the chin slowly towards the chest. Breathe in the cervical portion of your spine. Couple of deep breaths here. Inhale, bring your head back to center. Exhale, the audible sound of ah. You bring forth the elementals, the druid medicine. So just visualize soil within your body, fresh soil around the kidneys. A waterfall of energy over the right and left kidney. watering the soil, watering your being, releasing fear. Inai.
Itayo nanane atete wanai.
Solar rays activate.
Yaroko shanamaya.
Solar light activate.
Yaroko starawa anyako terewa.
Throat chakra activate.
Miyaroko sanatatea sunyoko shanataya.
Release the baggage of the past.
Hiyomoko tatewa siatu tereawa.
Open your heart to receive.
Miyaroko nishnodataya kietai.
Let go of the burdens.
Miyaroko masaania makoterewa a.
Reclaim your voice.
Miyaroko sanataiwa.
Ainoyi ni aiti akona masadiya.
Miyashonotoa yama anaya sutiai.
Shakti.
Iyamoko sanatea kasa.
Shakti.
Iyashotewa iyanosukasa.
Remember.
Niatutea kiyamataiwa sukete.
Remember.
Nushinata aya kiyanamataya mukanaya.
Ancient remembrance.
Imatastia tutewa. Kito shataya kunatewa anmai. Makiasatia shukasai.
Solar light activate. Let the body repair and heal itself. Rejuvenate with these lush green leaves. Visualize lush green leaves being placed throughout the body, wherever you need more nourishment and plant medicine. Work with the structures of the plants. Visualize the plants within you. They're a part of you. Allow the sacred geometry within you to activate the spirals of creation to unravel the past. Bringing you back to your center, the universal energy within your heart. Activating the 0 point.
Miaro keta wana wana ya ne wa hayo na shane hamayo na ya ne wa na ya iaro e ayo na ya na ya ya
This is your opportunity to sing, to speak light language, to express yourself, to use your voice, to transcend the grief, to transcend the fear. that
Hio
keeps you
toto wa kuma
from
nenai.
trusting yourself
Hiaro kushtaraya namaya
and
kutea.
fully expressing yourself.
Nua tatai wa nusune wa na. Hio sheke wa meo sune tea
Solar
maa.
ray activate.
Niaroko sene tu te te wa ka nia
Solar
shune.
light activate.
Yomoto senenia ku te te wa kushanaya.
Solar.
Maya nia nia mukune
Shiva.
sune towai.
Shiva.
Hia shote wa
Shakti.
anu hane te te te.
Om.
Ha to te a sutia kushtara te a nama aya. Miyarokoma sinea sune shanatai wa umaka. Ia tutu
Deep breath
nea
in
sane.
and exhale out the mouth.
Miyarokona na. Na shonata ku. Na taya kine. Nia shone. Ia te hatawa. Kia no shane te wa moana. Moshine te wa konea. Sia no tora. Sia nio konea shunea samai. Mia konea susha. Mia konea nana. Mia rose neo shanaya. Kia sete. Ia ro kamaya.
Shiva
Mia
Rokakimanaki
sia
Sikariya O.
nate. Ia
Sikariya I.
koshenea.
Shakti.
Mia kona nai.
Urinakiki Areyai.
Mia ro kosa teoa.
Sulilumino no 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 no
Unene
no no
nai.
no 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 no
Imona
no
nai asia.
no 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 no.
No, 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 you. Na te wa sia ku. Na she te wa a. Na ne o ne a kie. Mara yora ya. Mara yora ya.
Mikiara yaone masikiarai diaore arai.
Kamia,
Emai.
me tosenatia,
Etokori emai diai.
kia nea shonoma a,
Shakti flow. Emeai.
kia sea tu, me shonaya, no to,
Shama. Yona. Kia ki.
nea koa nea sa,
Yoni. Ayaori ai.
a kia torea,
Release.
mustarai,
Shoda kamatia.
nea rokomai,
Raki araya o.
makatewa,
Raka asaka.
mukotewa. Coming back to the body.
Grounding into the bones.
Feel the light sinking in, Musana, the cellular structures, to be carried with you beyond this moment. Yum.
Just ground into your feet. Take some deep, nourishing breaths. You might even want to tap the soles of your feet.
Back of the neck.
Just start tapping anywhere on your body that you need to move the energy.
Ooh.
Paying attention to the places that need more love. Trust your intuition. Taking a couple more deep, nourishing breaths and stretching out the body too after you're done tapping. Just intuitively moving here, making any vocal tones you need to finally release.
Ah,
Yeah, any light language that needs to come through,
morning.
or anything that needs to be written down. Maybe you express through writing. It was such an honor to be here with you guys in this sacred space. Dani and I just love co creating and being generous with all of you. It's truly an honor to have all of you here, every single person that finds this video and takes the time to watch and receive the whole thing.
Truly. I mean, we know some of the light workers personally who tune in, and it's such an honor to be weaving with you through the ethers, even if we're not in direct collaboration. I see you, we see you, and we love you. And we know that all that find this video are of the same ilk, the same kin, the same weavership. And just know that we love your pure, innocent heart. The pure innocence in us loves, sees, honors, and celebrates the pure innocent in you.
And we want to see you on this webinar. It's Zoom, so we'll be able to see your face. We want you to turn your cameras on if you feel comfortable. We want to put names with faces, and it's so important to have a community during this time. And you will feel like you're in a sacred, nourished space. Our online offering is an online temple, so we really welcome you to join. Those who are meant to be there will walk through those temple doors and register.
And I also want to name that there's more to come. So
Mhm.
is the first temple of many regular temples that we're stewarding in this way. The frequency vault is something that we carry, that we are here to steward and bring through and ground. And so the frequency vault is a temple space, a chamber of healing and sonic codes. And there's my alarm letting me know it's time for my next meeting in 5 minutes. So I'm going to wrap.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a temple of sonic code. So if you're looking for a place to make the mystical practical, if you're looking for a place to normalize your magic, if you're looking for a place for easeful, fun, vibrant, liberating transformation that is done through the lens and honor of deep sacred stewardship, this is your place. We want to see you, be with you time after time so that this portal, this energy, this vortex can grow and we can all ground together and transform into the highest expressions of ourselves, stewarding light on this earth. And one last thing I want to add is many light workers out there, you have these new gifts opening, and there's this shyness or we've already talked about the persecution energy, but this of, oh, that couldn't be me. I have to be humble. Humility is not making yourself small. Humility is saying, I have heard your call. God, Goddess, Source, however you relate. I have heard the call, Spirit, and I am humble enough to take a step forward and try, even with my scared parts, even if I fall flat on my face, even if I don't know what I don't know. I am humble enough to learn. I am humble enough to discover. I am humble enough to explore. I am humble enough to go for the yearnings that are in my heart.
And this is the time, guys, to put yourself in rooms with people that are like minded and to elevate your frequency. Just by putting yourself in the frequency vault, you're going to meet other people that are just like you. So if you're feeling all alone or you're still playing that lone wolf story, it's time to be a part of a community and start getting recognized and seen.
Mm, I love everyone tuned in here. Thank you. Just, it's a
Thank
great honor.
you.
We love doing this work and we couldn't do it without you. I love you, sister, so deeply. I love you. I love you. I love you. You are magnificent. You are beautiful. You are cherished. You are radiant. Aigu shatiro kuma anio sono shikitea situtia kuma tete. And I see my third eye kissing your third eye. Not us putting our foreheads together. It's like my third eye's literally coming out and coming giving your third eye a kiss. I love you.
I love you too. What do you eat?